Hello everyone, and welcome to a kind of long overdue demonstration video for the MCM menu of Relationship Dialogue Overhaul, or RDO. Now, in this video, I'm just going to be covering the MCM, talking about some of its features, exactly what it does. Not going to be going over the mod details specifically outside of that, but just going to be showing you all the MCM as far as what some of these options mean, what they do if you're unsure. Now, I'm going to go ahead and just get started right away. No sense in putting things off now. The version I'm using right now, the version that's up is version 1.0, which is not the one that I'm running right now. This MCM is version 1.1, so this will be released in hopefully pretty soon. But these options are going to look a little differently than what you're using in version 1.0 because I've added an additional option to move some of the things around. So this right here, if you're confused about all these options down here, that's what this does. You can click on it and it will explain things for you. Basically, this just turns off these options down here. Just turn off most of the dialogue for the voice types. There's basically RDO quests have for individual voice types. This shuts off NPCs more friendly hellos, their more friendly or farewells, all their combat dialogue, a few of their idle lines that are very specific, a few other things in there as well. Not the follower lines, like the ones where you ask them to do something like trade items, dismiss, something like that. There's no effect on the insults that rivals tell you. This is only more the friendly dialogue and the combat dialogue. This shuts pretty much a good portion of it off for these voice types. I can't do it I can't have it control everything because that would just, well, I could, but it would require a lot more records to be added in to do that, which it's possible, but just a lot more time consuming. This is a little bit easier to do it like this because there's another way you can do that, which I'll get to that in just a second, as far as preventing NPCs that you don't want to use dialogue or audio dialogue to stop using it some. But these options up here should be very self-explanatory. This just lets you use additional spouse dialogue. Again, the dialogue records are not overwritten, or they don't change the original ones. They just basically get stacked up higher in the priority list, or to the game, they are seen as more important. So the game will run the spouse dialogue from RDO as opposed to the original game dialogue. That's all it does. So if you shut this option off, it's like you're just pulling the RDO dialogue out of the stack, and the game reverts back to using the original spouse dialogue from the game. So that's all it does. The guard dialogue, this allows guards to use a few more lines added by RDO. There's not a lot that I've added so far. There's a few of them, kind of a few funny little ones. If you're sneaking around and doing things like that, especially when you're not a thane of a province, they may have something to say. They don't like you doing that. But that's what this does. Not a whole lot, like I said, at this time, but it does add a few more lines of dialogue. This is for your house Carls if you get tired of them saying, "I'm sworn to carry your burdens," especially Lydia. You can turn this off and they'll quit saying it completely. Again, if you marry a house Carl, he or she will stop calling you Thane. If they still do call you Thane, that means you have got the mods loaded in the wrong order if you're using a overhaul patch, a follower overhaul patch, or you've got another mod that's overriding it. Trust me, RDO fixes all that. So you've got load order issues or mods overriding it. So this just basically lets you use, I'm going to change a little bit this description thing down here because it's not 100% accurate at the moment. Well, it is, but there's a few more details you need to be aware of. This is mainly for followers, primarily. This will affect a few other NPCs that are not followers, but primarily for followers. If you like having girlfriends, if you will, for lack of a better word, or boyfriends or whatever it may be, you can have them followers that are not married to you talk to you like a lover. Now, they're not going to refer to you as a husband or wife, or call you like a spouse, but they will call you a love. They will call you dear or something like, that type of thing. They're gonna say something like that to you. So if you want that, it's here. It will be off by default. But for those of you that are used to it in DFD, that's where this option is here. This is just the opposite down here of the friendly dialogue. This will turn off their insults, and actually this will shut off pretty much all their insults. For the most part, again, probably about 99% of them will be shut off. There's a few that won't be, but this does turn off most here. This right here, it basically prevents NPCs from using their generic town dialogue, like, I don't know, I've got some good pieces out here if you're looking to buy, that type of thing, if they don't like you. It prevents them from using that. It also prevents them from using, like, the generic, yes, huh, need something? It prevents them from using that. If they don't like you, they'll just be silent. They just won't say anything to you. Some NPCs, depending on their dialogue priority, will still continue to talk to you even if they don't like you. This is just due to how the game reads and understands quests, because that's what holds dialogue. That's how it understands things. And so sometimes NPCs will still talk to you even though you have this on. There's just dialogue the game sees as more important than where this is placed, because I didn't want to block other dialogue that may be necessary for you to hear. So again, that's where this is placed, a little bit lower down, just above all that town dialogue. So, but for the most part, your town citizens will stop talking to you if this is on and they don't like you. They won't go back to using their generic town dialogue. If you want them to, just turn this off and they will start using it again. This prevents enemy vendors that don't like you from offering services. So if you kill, like, the shop owner's assistant, then they're not going to let you buy anything from anymore. Kind of things like that is why this is in here, because it's always ridiculous. You could do whatever you want in the game, and NPCs were like, hey, sure, you want to sell something, or I'll rent you a room. I don't care if you killed everybody that works here. You can still rent a room from it. You know, that type. It's kind of dumb. So that's why this option's in here. If you don't like that, if you don't care if you always want enemies to, or rivals to train you, if you always want them to let you rent rooms or buy or sell things, you can turn this off and they will always do that. So that you can pretty much revert that back to vanilla. That's what this option does. The idle dialogue is, again, pretty self-explanatory. You can click there for more options, just like I missed it. On here, you can do the same thing. Click that, and this, pretty much the same thing there. Like I said, like that message will say, if you actually take the time to read it, is this will shut off all the RDO dialogue. The new dialogue added by RDO. Freya actually doesn't have anything at the moment. She will in future versions, but she doesn't right now. This will shut off all the new dialogue for followers added by RDO, the idle dialogue, excuse me, as well as if the NPC has an original voice type from the game, or original idle dialogue from the game. So, for instance, female dark elf would be primarily Janassa, but this will shut off. If you turn this option off here, this means that all female dark elf idle dialogue, so all the dialogue normally used by Janassa, is shut off. Everything. So you can turn off followers completely. Now keep in mind, if you are using another mod that adds idle dialogue for followers, this does not turn those off. I can't do that unless that mod does some sort of fancy thing, or I require you to have that mod. It would be an absolute requirement. Your game would crash without it. I'm not going to do that. So that's what this does here. Pretty self-explanatory in itself. Now I'm going to come back to this page because this is I'll need to actually roll over an NPC to show you the options, but this is the stop combat page, which I'll probably come back to. This lets you stop combat. Now there's two options here. You will see why in a little bit when I actually show you how this works. But this lets you stop combat primarily if NPCs are fighting, let's say a friendly NPC that casts spells has cast a fireball at a vampire attacking a town. And then the fireball explodes when it hits and it kills the vampire, but then strikes a guard. Now the town guard's attacking your follower, and then 2 or 3 other guards come to help him, and next thing you know, there's 4 guards assaulting your follower who's trying to defend themselves, and you don't want to attack a guard and get a bounty on yourself. It'd be great as if everybody would quit fighting, because fireball was not meant to hit the guard in the first place, right? So let's come up here, and you would select this second option down here that says have everybody quit fighting. That's primarily what these options do. This lets you so if a follower or another NPC hits and starts combat with another NPC, a neutral one that they don't normally fight, this lets you stop them. This also is great up here. This is a single option. This just tells one NPC to quit fighting. This is good for followers that get stuck spellcasting. Sometimes at the end of combat, followers get stuck in like this spellcasting where they're in limbo of this. They're in combat, but they're not in combat. They don't respond, they don't move, they just sit there and they look mad and they just hold their spells. That's a bug with the original game. They're basically stuck in combat, but they're not actually in combat, kind of, if you will. They're in both at the same time, and so it's kind of hard for them to be in both at the same time. So this just makes them say, hey, you're in combat somewhere, cut it out. You're not in combat anymore. This just cuts them out. It just says, hey, quit combat, there's nothing for you to fight. So this should reset them back to being normal. This is mainly if you, the player, are trying to run away from enemies and you go through like 2 or 3 cells or loading doors and something is still trying to chase you or still coming after you, but they're really far away and you're just like, really, could you just get out of combat with me? Just click this option. This will have everybody that's currently fighting you to stop. Everybody all at once will quit. This I will come back to in just a second because this is the NPC Stats page. So let me go ahead and go back to these 2 pages primarily, and I will show you all by selecting Lydia here, who is mad because we just killed a bunch of bandits in here. But I'm going to come over here and select this and have this option. Now you can see as I pulled this up, a lot more, the options change. Everything changed differently, which I can roll off of her and show you what it pretty much says without it. This will basically bring up a almost blank page and just tell you that you don't have an NPC selected. You can use your in-game crosshair, which is basically the crosshair, or that console right there. You can use that console. That's another way to do it. You can select them using a console, or you can select them using a crosshair. It's pretty much whichever one you'd like to do. As it says at the bottom, the crosshair will always be shown over the console because I had to pick one. One of them had to win, otherwise it would be multiple options, or double options, double everything, which that's not really necessary to do. So this is the list right here that you can still see right here, and the list that you can clear I'll cover that in just a second here. But like I said, it will let you use, even for those of you who don't know about the console thing, as you can see here, Lydia was just selected. So if I refresh this page, there you go. Now Lydia's been selected. If I select, oh, that's selecting me. I don't want to select me, and that's selecting a bandit chief. Can I select anything other than that? There we go. And then I do that, refresh the page, you can see right there, there's nothing there selected. So, but I'm going to go ahead and roll my console or my crosshair over Lydia. Sorry if I sound really nasally, I just woke up about 20 minutes ago. Okay, so pretty much what this does is this probably is where most of you all will spend your time. This is the changing specific NPC options. What this does is, first of all, this shows you who you've selected. So as you can see there, it says Lydia. Yes, I know it does down here, but just figured to add up here as well. This will also say console, like it did previously, if you were using the console instead of the crosshair. This will let you change your relationship rank from whatever you'd like. You just click it, and it will change. Now, you may be thinking to yourself, why don't we have a -3 or 4? That's because depending on a NPC's aggression values or faction combat reactions, they may attack you on sight if you change it to a -3 or 4. That's what'll happen. I may look into incorporating a way for you to do that, although there's no real benefit to changing it below this value here. None whatsoever with RDO. Absolutely none. So, I'm gonna go ahead and change it back to ally, 'cause that's where it's set normally for followers. Like I said, you can change that to whatever you like. If it gets messed up, or you just want to make everybody friends with you, just do this option, just change it, and hey, they'll be friends. So this will only show these two right here for a follower that is not normally a follower. This will allow you to make them into a potential follower, and this will also allow you to make them into a potential spouse if they can be married, if they support marriage dialogue, either in the RDO list, which is just a copy of the vanilla one, or the vanilla list, which is being checked as well in case another mod alters that one. This will show up here. Now, Lydia is already a potential follower and already a potential spouse, so you can't make her one of those because she already is. I'm trying to think I was going to say something else about that. I don't really remember now. Okay, anyway, sorry. I've kind of blanked there. I was going to say something else and I just totally forgot. So, this option right here lets you prevent this NPC that you're currently selected from using RDO dialogue. If you just don't want them to use it at all, this is the option to do. As opposed to just doing something like turning it off here, you can use this option instead, and this will make them completely prevent. This will make them stop. Well, I'm trying to think if there's anything at all they could possibly not use. There may be 1 or 2 restored lines from the vanilla game they will still use, but other than that, that's pretty much it. They should pretty much completely stop using the RDO dialogue. This is what you want to do if you really want to make an NPC shut up and just, you don't like having them use RDO dialogue. This is where you do it. You would select this option. I will go ahead and do it now, and you'll see it says Lydia will stop. Just click accept, and you can see there you can't prevent Lydia again. She has already been prevented, and so you can allow her. If you come over to this list and you open up, I have Minerva selected here just because I don't have the. There's a reason for that. So, but as you can see, this will show you the list of NPCs that you prevented. So, if you want to let her use it again, just roll your crosshair over again, and just select that, and it will say she'll start using it. Click all right, and then there you go, and you go back to this list. Lydia's gone. So, you can see there that that's what this basically does. This will let you prevent the NPC or allow them. This right here lets you clear everybody. So this will prompt you to say, hey, are you sure you want to clear everyone? And then it will say, it says, are you sure? No. And you click off there. If you accidentally misclick, you do have a chance to say no. So, but what this will do is this will clear all the NPCs that you have prevented, so you don't have to go individually do them one by one if you just want to revert the list back to its original state. The NPC Stats Page is pretty much one of the final things, although I think I probably will cover the other ones here, this and this a little bit. That was, where in the world how did I get all the way over there? That was kind of weird. So this basically shows you, as it says up top, the NPC in your crosshair, and then this shows you kind of more relative stats that are important. These values right here are not the combat regen values. These are the outside of combat. These are kind of like the standard ones. This is the ones if you go into your magic effect menu, and it says you regenerate magicka by 75% faster or something like that. That's what this adds to. So that's the values you're pulling from right here. Excuse me, I actually had to yawn there for a second. This shows you, just like I said, relative stats and skills that are important. These values let you change them down here. I'm not going to explain these because they already have their own exact things that I would say. You can click to change these, and this will... There's a reason why you can't select Frenzied or Very Aggressive, and the rest of them you should be able to select whichever ones you would like. So that's pretty much what that does. Now, one thing I'm going to do is probably go ahead and spawn a NPC in here and have it start combat, and that way I can show you exactly what happens when we have a NPC starting combat with us. So I'm going to go ahead and spawn. Don't do this with uniquely named NPCs. An NPC named Nord is not a unique NPC. So I'm going to put this Nord here. I'm going to select her with a console, and I'm going to go ahead and do this. I'm going to go ahead and, in case you're wondering how you do this, how you make any NPC fight you, just use start combat space player, and that NPC will start fighting me instantly.
Thought I heard. Oh.
Now, she's starting combat. You can hear behind me. So what I'm going to do now is come over here to this MCM, and on my crosshair, I can't figure out for the life of me why this little thing's there. That annoys me. I'm using the Sovereign Guard misfont replacer, so I have to look at that. Maybe there's an updated version that... I don't know what that's from. I don't know if that's an issue with it or what, but anyway, this combat music is annoying. I'm very sorry for you all, so I'll get through this quickly. What I'm going to do now is show you all exactly what happens with this when you have one NPC selected, the player, or just Lydia itself. So, okay, sorry for the interruption. It was an interruption. Somebody come and interrupted me, so I had to let that play it without finishing it. So, my apologies. Let me try this again, just to...
Yes?
Okay, there we go. Now I need to get off of the Nord going Lydia. So, let me go ahead and do this again, and hopefully we'll be able to actually get this done correctly. So we're going to start combat with my... Alright, so Lydia's now gotten her sword out. And what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and select this option here. Now, you can use either one of these. If you just use this one, this will make Lydia stop combat. And that's it. Just Lydia, nobody else. If you select this one, this will make Lydia and those fighting her stop in combat. If you select this one, this will say, hey, everybody fighting the player, stop combat. So what I'm going to do is, I'll show you all. This is actually probably one of the more helpful ones. Click this option. And as you can see, all of a sudden, everybody went back to normal. That's what that does. That allows you to just basically tell people to, hey, stop fighting you, the player. So if you ever get stuck in combat, or if you want followers to quit combat, you can do one of two ways. You can select them and the option to tell them to make enemies quit fighting you, or enemies that are fighting them to stop, or use the option that says, hey, have everybody fighting the player stop combat. So I think the last thing I'm going to do now is go to, what time is it on here? It's 11:30 a.m. in-game time. That's fine. We're going to go to Whiterun, and we're going to make NPCs into potential followers using RDO, and I will show you all exactly how to do that. So I'll be right back once we're in Whiterun. Okay, so here I am back in Whiterun, and we're going to go ahead and go make some NPCs into potential followers. So let's see, who in the world could we find that's a good potential follower. You just tell people that you work for Bellathor, even though you don't do that as much anymore, so I'm not going to recruit you.
I'm here to buy food, Nazim.
Let's see. Should we go get everybody's favorite priest? I did Nazim in a previous video. I could even do children if you'd like, because kids have fully voiced follower dialogue. Let's see here, who can work for this? I could steal Nazim's wife and... let's go with Lucia, why not? We'll make her into a follower as well as somebody else. Just come over here. And Lucia's a friend, but she's not a follower. So let's go ahead and select this. And by the way, another thing is, if you select this option here, you don't need to change this. The relationship rank will be changed automatically. You don't need to do that, so.
You're the best. Ooh, wonderful. I can't wait. You're being mean.
And by the way, I am using Extensible Follower Framework.
I'm willing to back those words up with a fist.
So as you can see, she now has the correct options.
All right, then.
There you go. And now I've got Lucia. Just follow me around. So let's go get somebody generic. Let's get Danica's little acolyte dude here. So he is on an acquaintance level with me. We're not friends, we're not enemies, we're just kind of strangers that don't really know each other. So what we're going to do is come over here and just select this option. And he's our friend, so he'll talk to us a little nicer, and we can recruit him as a follower.
Hello, friend.
There you go.
Let's not waste any time.
And see if we can get rid of his invisible cup that he's holding.
What can I do for you, friend?
There you go. He's now a follower.
Let me know if you need anything.
That's all you have to do. You can pretty much make any NPC that's unique into a potential follower. It's that simple. Now, guards, you can't. That's just because it's never a good idea to try to make a non-persistent reference persistent, which is what you're doing. Generally, when doing things with followers, you don't want to be making the game hold around a non-persistent reference any longer than it should. So, hello, Nazim.
Hey, hands off.
I'm not going to pickpocket you or anything. But yeah, there you go. That's
What is it?
he's, like I said,
Lead on then.
he's a follower even though he's not normally. So
What can I do
I can
for
go
you?
and dismiss him.
I'm heading home if you need me.
There you go. And he's left. So that's pretty much it. That's the gist of the MCM with RDO. Hopefully you all found this video a little bit helpful and enjoy using this mod in your game, as well as having all those MCM features that are, well, I think kind of nice to have in there. Some of them you all may not like or care for, but there you go. That's pretty much it. So, like I said, hopefully this was a little bit helpful and somewhat enjoyable, and hopefully you enjoy using RDO in your game. Why are you looking at me so mad? Whatever. Anyways,
All this standing around is rubbish. We should be taking the fight to the Stormcloaks.
should I recruit you as well? Why not? Let's go for it. I know I just said I'm done with this video, but let's take Balgru's brother here.
Good to have you by my side. Good. There's plenty that needs doing.
There you go. He's the follower.
All right then.
You can make pretty much anybody you want to into a follower. Now be careful. If you kill an NPC needed for a quest, generally you can't do that if they're really, really important. But it can happen. Also, NPCs that are not normally protected or not made protected by any sort of follower overhauls, if you're using multiple of them, well, I say multiple, not multiple follower overhauls, multiple followers, like EFF here, it doesn't change any NPC protection status. Do be careful. You can get NPCs killed easily if they're followers. So, like, Hrongar is essential. I don't think he can die. Lucy, I've got mods that allow for killable children just because just having invincible kids is weird. Just totally invincible. So I've had situations where kids were just in the middle of a bomb explosion and they just walked away fine. It's kind of, I mean, not really bomb explosion, but anyway. No, I'm not a psychopath that runs around killing children. It's just weird the fact that they can not take damage from anything. So, anyways, I've gone on way too much with this. I will be stopping here. And again, hopefully you all enjoyed this demonstration. Hopefully it's a little bit helpful, and I will see you all perhaps in another video. So take care, everybody, and have a good one.